We're live.
Hello, family. Once again, we are back at the High Council with Killer B and Brother Haru. We got a exciting new show for you tonight with Rakhu Sonkofa Anu. Brother's going to tell us a little bit about sovereignty. You know, there's a lot of people that's going out. They're trying to claim sovereignty. They're having trouble with the police. And we have some, there were some questions on, can you really claim or have sovereignty in the U.S. as a black man trying to separate yourself? And there's some terms that's being used like sovereign citizen and avos, and so we go get some of these things cleared up. And it's always on the High Council, Witchfinder General, always bringing you the latest, the hottest topics, events, and subjects that's current today and that is relevant. So I want to introduce my co-host, Killer B, and then we're going to introduce our guest for tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, Killer B. Hope everybody out there is doing all right. We're going to have a great show for you tonight. And we're going to learn some stuff from Brother Rakhu Sonkofa Anu. So, yeah, brother, thanks for stopping by the High Council. So you have a lot to tell us tonight. Like I was talking earlier, me and Brother Haru had a conversation about this, and I said I'd heard about it a lot over the years, but I'd never seen anybody actually practice it with success. I've never seen a success story. So Brother Haru has told us that you have some success stories, and hope for you to share that with us tonight. So yeah, with that, you can go ahead, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself and get on in it.
All right. Okay. How everyone doing? Thanks for having me on the show. Again, my name is Rakhu Sonkofa Anu. And I got started say around 2012, 2011. And I started because I had a house. I was trying to sell a house, and I actually had a sale for the house, and Wells Fargo had kind of interrupted my sale, claiming that I owed them more on the house than I did. So frantic as I was, I searched. I actually just went straight to the internet to try and figure, hoping to reach at something, and kind of got on, sniffed the trail of this sovereign act, not sovereign citizen, sovereign act, so come to find out that, through our birth certificate, we got like so many units of credit associated with our birth certificate. But as an adult, we never claim ownership of our birth certificate, which ties to the all capital name. Okay, so which is a business, which is a citizenship part of the United States that we want to kind of disassociate ourselves from, and we want to kind of do business under our upper and lowercase name and make that the power of attorney over our all cap name and control it from that angle, so that way you own nothing, then rich folks got a saying that you're not supposed to own anything, you're supposed to control it. Well, that's how it is right now. 99% of Americans claim to own that name when you don't want to own that name. You just kind of want to control that name from a third person. So this is what we want to try to do when we separate ourselves. We start at the birth certificate. We get the birth certificate authenticated all the way up. Now, why do we do that? Now we have like two birth certificates. One birth certificate comes in our all capital name. That's what's called Um, that birth certificate is the birth certificate from the county, and then you get another birth certificate that is from the state. That's a birth certificate. It's called certificate of live birth. That, depending on the state you are born in, you'll know your mother hand. It could be under your mother handwriting. Um, it has the doctor's signature on there. It has a notary as a witness on there. It has the time. I'm going off my birth certificate, so not all state has um, the address that your mom stay at. So it's a more in depth. But the key thing is on the certificate of live birth. It actually says that this person was born alive, and you have a witness. It's witnessed by a doctor, a notary, and it's witnessed by your mom. So that's three witnesses to a document. Okay, so you want to have that authenticated on each level of the government of the United States, where United States, is witnessing, or they are attesting that you was born alive. It's going to be important that you're born alive, as opposed to a corporate fiction that was made up out of nowhere. Okay, so you proving, this is your evidence that you were proving that you was born alive, and you separating yourself. So you get that certificate of live birth with your upper and lowercase letter name, and upper and lowercase letters for your name. You get that authenticated by the county that you of the city you was born in. Then you get authenticated by the state that you was born in, and then you get that authenticated at the Secretary of State for the United States of America. That's all levels of federal government. On every level, you have somebody saying that this person was born alive. And then what you want to do is you get that back. That's going to come in a package. It's going to have every level, a state seal for every level, all the way up. You're going to take that package, and what you're going to do is you're going to create, now you're going to create a affidavit of ownership, of beneficial ownership. So you're not taking true ownership of the birth certificate, because it's not your birth certificate, but you are taking beneficial ownership because you are the beneficiary of your birth certificate. Okay, so everything that's 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 a benefit based on that birth certificate. Going to school. Think all the things you have to use your birth certificate to get. There's a benefit that's associated with that, but it's only the benefit goes to the name on that birth certificate, which is you. All right, so that's you have the benefit in that ownership. So what you're going to do is, in the state that you are in currently, like I'm in Oregon, the state I was born in was in New York. So I had my certificate of live birth authenticated on every level, all the way up to the federal level, and I had it mailed to Oregon. Now, what I did in the state of Oregon was I created my own affidavit of ownership, and I described everything that was in the certificate of live birth, the file number, um, my name, my mother's name, the doctor name. I pretty much gave the over 100% description of what was on that certificate of live birth. And I also put um, a picture of myself in there, a passport picture of myself in there. And I said that this is the person, or not person, but this is the man that is associated with that name. Okay. After that, I took that to the secretary, a notary, had that notarized, had that authenticated through the state of Oregon. Now that just became prima facie evidence inside the state of Oregon. Okay. So what I'm attempting to do right now is, um, like maybe create some form of identity, so that way I can stop using the Oregon state ID, and I'm trying to create my own identity, and I'm getting Oregon to authenticate that, because I just put my picture in there. It's associated with the name, the birth certificate, so I'm tying all that together, and Oregon they just authenticated that, right? So now that's I could take that to any courtroom in the state of Oregon, because it's just been authenticated by the top head dog, and that's the governor. Okay, so now what I do, I register that to myself, and I got that from people that I listen to. I just came up on that too, registering that to myself, through the post office. Kind of makes it kind of like what they call a poor man's copyright. So I've just taken. I don't want to use the word ownership, but I just literally taken full control over that birth certificate and affidavit of ownership. And I just taken full control over that when I register it to myself, because I just put, if I don't know if anybody's familiar with registered mail, but you know, you have a option to put insurance on the contents of that envelope. So you put an insurance on there. You don't have to, because you're mailing it to yourself, but you could put some insurance on there and you mail it to yourself, and it's an insured document, and it you have complete control over that. So that's what I use in court. If ever I have a problem with the police, if ever I have to go to court for um, a traffic ticket or anything, I take a copy of the contents of that envelope, and that's prima facie evidence, and that's what got me through a lot of my problems with court. Just to just give a little of a quick view of one of the directions that I went to. It's a lot of avenues to go through, but that's the main one, is to claim your name, and that's how you start to claim your name, is with the certificate of live birth. Can everybody hear me? I keep hearing like a
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. So based off that, is there already any questions? You want me to keep going? Am I talking too fast? Am I clear enough? I can't really.
Oh
I
no,
can't
you
really hear
good.
everything.
I can hear you. Um, I can hear you fine. But can you go in while you're talking about? Can you, go into um some of like the long form, short forms, and about how long does it take you to do this? So some people might think that it's like a very short or easy process to do. Um, but for some people, it takes some due diligence to send that paperwork out and so forth, and wait for it to come back, and maybe do it over and over again. If you can go over that,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Well, based. I guess I can say, based on where you located, as far as where you live at now, and where your birth state is at. Like I live in Oregon. I'm like at two far extremes. I'm on the West Coast. New York is on the East Coast. So the time it took for me to um, get my birth certificate back, we're talking like maybe a week and a half before I got it back. And then once I got it back, I had to mail it off again to the city county, which could take another week and a half. And once I got it back, then I had to mail it off again to the state, which could take another week and a half. Then when I got it back, I still had to mail it off to the United States, which was, if I'm not mistaken, in Kentucky, no, Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken, which is also on the East Coast, and then mail it back. So for me in particular, which it might not be for everybody, it took about a month and a half, 2 months maybe, tops. But somebody could actually live in the same state that they was born in, and in that case, they can drive to the state capital and they can get this done in one day or 2 days at the most. So it all depends on, as far as how far you live away from your birth state, or if you still reside in your birth state. But the whole understanding, this is a way, this is this is a life change. It's not something that is necessarily a quick fix. You're going to be fighting, well, not fighting, but you're going to be learning things forever if you want to, you know, be a solver, so to speak. This is a way of living. You have to be committed to, defending yourself, at all times, because there's a presumption. The government makes a presumption that you are a citizen of the government. So, as such, as a citizen, you are only entitled to privileges. You know, you don't have rights. You have privileges. They grant you privileges. A license, I don't know the definition off the top of my head, but a license is something like is being granted permission to do something that you couldn't do otherwise. So I mean, so to get a license in any one thing is being granted permission from an authority. If you need to be granted permission from an authority, then you can't claim to be a sovereign. You can only claim to be a citizen.
Would that conflict with the constitutional right of free travel, as far as the license being a privilege compared to a
Yes.
right?
Okay. Well, if say for instance you get pulled over, if a police officer pulls you over and he says, "Give me your driver's license," and you hand him a driver's license, then you know it's going to be a hard fight to say that you sovereign in the same sense, because you just gave him proof that you got permission to drive. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a driver's license per se, because you trying to, some people drive for a living, so as a sovereign, you're able to contract whenever you want to contract. So you can be a driver when you want to be a driver, and then not when you don't want to be one. So how do you do that? Well, when you get pulled over there and that cop asks for a driver's license, you can't, you don't have to necessarily provide him with a driver's license. You know what I'm saying? But you do, more than likely you would have to identify yourself. But that's not necessary. You can identify yourself with your name. So, but if you give them your driver's license, then you just mix the two, and you just prove that they granted you a privilege, and actually you prove that you're working for the state, that you got that driver's license in.
But now, besides driving, is there any other I don't want to say claims, but rights that you obtain outside of physical or intimate objects? I mean, one thing you talk about, like things that belong directly to you, is like it's your child, blood, and so forth. Can you explain? Can you explain that a little bit of that as far as what that sovereignty would actually bring to you?
Okay. Well, birthright. That's you earn sovereignty is going to earn you the right to be left alone. Okay. So if you're not necessarily in the position to grow your own food, um, make your own clothes, then you're probably not going to be a true sovereign. You're going to need the state at some point. So you're going to need to go to Fred Meyer's. I mean, I don't know what, maybe not Fred Meyer's, but you're going to need to go to um, you're going to need to go to some place that's that can provide a product for you. So those places take Federal Reserve notes, and that's a property of the United States. So you almost going to always need to deal with them. So you can learn how to deal with them, which is the way of getting your birth certificate signed and controlling it, not owning it, but controlling it. Or you can try and get out altogether. You can go off the grid and what I'm saying, somehow get your own electricity going, get your own water going. That's possible. People do those things. I'm not necessarily equipped at this point to go off the grid. So I feel it's more so it's best for me to learn how to navigate the system that we in right now. And to answer the other question, beyond just a driver's license or something, the another main thing that gets us tied to this government is our voter registration card. The fact that we register to vote. And the funny part about it is, when you get a driver's license, you kind of already get registered. You should start getting voter registration stuff in the mail. So you kind of already on the list, so you're gonna need to take yourself off the list. Because if you're not a part of a corporation, then why would you be voting in that why would you be voting in an election of that corporation? So, you know, you can um, you can denounce yourself as a voter of the United States, and you can turn in your driver's license, and you can get a state ID, which is not the same. You're not subjecting yourself to the same rules as a driver's license, you know, and so a state ID um, is better than a driver's license because, like I say, you're gonna need to cash your checks. You're gonna need to do certain things, and so unless you're willing to provide everything for yourself, we have to learn how to navigate with what we have, and we have to learn how to, play both sides of the coin, if you will.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Um,
when most people they think about the oh, go ahead, Kel.
yeah, I was gonna say, could you share in the beginning? You said there was a difference between um, being sovereign and a sovereign citizen. Could you let the viewers know? Tell us a little bit more on that, because we
Okay,
see
well,
a lot of people they usually just put that
yeah,
they're
that's
sovereign on.
yeah, absolutely. Well, sovereign is supposed to go back. All your laws are supposed to be from biblical. So the God of the Bible or the Creator. Not necessarily the God of the Bible, but the Creator is sovereign. He referred to himself as sovereign, and so the sovereign is like a king. The sovereign is king. It's like being your own state. You saying you are your own state. you know so how can a person necessarily be king of the or how can a person necessarily claim to be a state and then be a citizen of that same state? So a king can't be a king and a subject of his kingdom. So God can never be God or sovereign and be a citizen or subject to the rules of the God. So you just don't ever want to be the two. You saying you your own God, but not as you saying you your own God, little G. So you your own sovereign, you your own piece of God. So you can't
So
necessarily be both.
under in the United States, I hope you didn't explain this already because I had some audio issues earlier. Um,
Okay.
with driving with no driver's license and no driver's license plate.
Yes.
And you have said that you have gotten pulled over many times. I would like to
Yes.
know, um, did you have to go to court any of those times?
I
And the
did.
reason you let go, was it more of a doing you a favor thing, or was it something that was legal that they let you go?
Well, I don't think they do favors, but and so the first time I got pulled over, it was by a state um a sheriff, actually, a sheriff, and he got behind me for no real reason, but that my plate was that what it was, and believe it or not, the judge found that was not cause enough, and I wish uh,
So it would have
I could
been
show
more
that. I
of
could have shown that.
a false stop rather than. So when he stopped you, he charged you. He gave you tickets for that.
Yes.
Okay, and the tickets were misuse of a plate or whatever. Um, no license, I guess.
Yep. No license, no insurance, no
And,
and no drive. Yeah, no license, no insurance, and the misuse of a plate, and also Um,
And you started to fight
in
it.
a U-turn. He claimed I made a U-turn to avoid him. But go ahead.
And you claim not guilty, and you filed
I
it
claim
in.
innocent. I claim innocent.
Okay.
Not guilty. But go ahead.
Um, and so the courtroom saw that it was more of what we call it? Nah, know what I mean? It wasn't a legal stop. So usually that throws out everything, all the other charges in most cases. So I would like to know,
Yeah.
like, how would you understand that it was because of the plates or your the sovereign paperwork that you had that got you out of that trouble?
Okay. Well, I also got pulled over with a car with Oregon plates on there. You know, but the plates were expired. You know, and when I pretty much got like the same tickets because I still don't have a driver's license. Never had one since I moved to Oregon. So I couldn't get insurance because I don't have a driver's license. And the car that I bought a car once I moved here, and I just never, um, registered the car in my name. So when the tags expired, that's what it was. I rode around with those tags like that. So essentially, I was kind of like the same deal. So the cop ended up behind me, and I got pulled over, and I I got a ticket for just like I say, just about the same thing. And I fought, and when I fought them, I had a much harder fight than I did when I didn't have my plates on there. I mean, because they had it tied to me because I was using their plates. So when I didn't have their plates on my vehicle, they had no claim on that because one, I never registered with them because I just bought it. I just bought it, and then when their plates, the person who bought it, I don't know, in Oregon, when you buy a car, are you from Oregon? I'm not for sure, but when you buy a car, you gotta like kind of like fill out paperwork saying that yo, I sold this car to them. So relieving
Right,
the person of liability from the other end. All right.
right.
So when I don't go register that car, I never give ownership back to the state. Okay. So when I take their property, which is the only thing that's theirs now, is the license plate that I got on my car. That's the only evidence that they got that I was in some form of contract with them. That was um their property. And had I known, I would have just took it off and gave it to him. But gave it to him then. But make a long story short, is that was pretty much the same situation. For no reason, he got behind me, and for that, I absolutely skated with not. I didn't even. I got out of that court in 5 minutes when I didn't have my plate on there. I had to go to court 3 times when I
And what
got
was, and what was the reason for them finding you innocent?
because they had no interest in it. Well, when I had my plate with my car, I mean when I put my own plate on there, they had no jurisdiction. They had no jurisdiction over that. I never gave them back jurisdiction. They couldn't tow it. They could not tow it. I've parked that car down on the street in downtown Portland, and they couldn't tow it. They didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't registered to nothing. They didn't know what to do with it. So I mean,
They
then
they they couldn't even say it was like abandoned or anything like that.
no, they ain't even been there 24 hours. They mark it.
Yeah,
They know the streets. I was like, yo, man, this car ain't even been here 24 hours. How was it abandoned already?
yeah, okay, yeah.
So
Trying to
I
see
mean,
if there's any like excuses that they could have made because the car didn't have their identification on it, that they would have probably said, hey, look, this car is abandoned or it shouldn't be here. But you saying that they couldn't do that
they
because
couldn't
they
do
didn't
that.
have the jurisdiction.
They didn't have the jurisdiction.
Okay.
What would make them not have the jurisdiction?
Me not registering it back with them. That's what like I'm saying. Like so, when I had the bill of sale, the bill of sale trumps the certificate, trumps the title. The bill of sale trumps the title. That's the initial deal. Even when you go to the dealership, the bill of sale is first. It trumps the title. So if you got the bill of sale, I have the bill of sale. See, I've never registered a car in the state of Oregon, so I wouldn't know. But I'm assuming that when you go register, you have to give them the bill of sale. Maybe you
That's
don't. I'm not for
no, no.
sure.
That's correct. So just anybody who ever purchased a vehicle, you know that when you go in there, one of the first things that the dealership or whoever's selling you the car do is give you a purchase agreement, which is a bill of sale, and it lists the price of the car, any tax, license, registrations, add-ons, whatever have you, down payment, and then you have a bottom amount. Either that bottom amount will be zeroed out by your down payment, which means that you now you will receive the title, or you will be financed by a third party financing company, in which they will then you will sign a bill of sale, but they will actually get the title to the vehicle. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works in the auto industry.
So the bill of sale, the bill of sale does trump the title, but we give that up for a
Mhm.
certificate, which is just a receipt that we gave them the title. So I never did that. That was the first. That was the first. That was the first mistake I did. I would have done was to give them back jurisdiction.
Mhm. Now, when you talk about jurisdiction, what language, for a lot of people who out there who might not know exactly what you're saying, when you say jurisdiction, where's these terms coming from? They sound legal. So,
There's a term, there's a language called legalese, family, and that is, um, that's kind of like the term, the language of the lawyers, and or the language of the court. You know, so you got Black Laws Dictionary, you got the Bouvier Dictionary, that has all these terms in it. People want to get familiar with these terms because these terms is, we get caught up on this wordplay, and the same words that we attribute certain meanings to is something totally different from them. And when we use the words, when we use our meaning for those same words in court, we play ourselves and we trick ourselves up. So it's kind of real important that one get real familiar with the legal terms.
yeah. By claiming sovereignty, with what everything is going on with ICE and illegal immigration and detention and so forth, for some people to claim or try to claim sovereignty, is there any repercussions of where they could be maybe deported, or maybe the government would say you gave up your citizenship, so now they're moving you somewhere else outside the land, or maybe even put you in a detention center? Is there any chance of that happening?
There's no chance of that happening. There's no chance. What's going on right now is the United States. The United States as a corporation is no bigger than a 10 square mile radius of Washington D.C. That's it. That's the extent of the United States of America as a corporation. The only reason it extends all the way to California, all the way to Oregon, all the way to Washington, is because of the zip code. You know, we get the zip code. We say that we are a part of this zip code. That zip code is owned by the United States. So, we claim to be a citizen of the United States all the way over here by claiming to live in that zip code.
So
So
where do you think people are going wrong then? Because like we see brothers and sisters on TV and or on YouTube, right? And they're trying to claim it, and they're trying to claim sovereignty, and they end up getting snatched up by the police or shot by the police. What in your perspective, what do you think that they're not doing right or not doing correctly, to prevent some of these things? If you're going to claim sovereignty, you know, what
okay,
is it that they're you missing out on to stop such incidents just from happening to them?
okay, I think like one of the main things is not tying themselves back down. So you want to claim sovereignty, but you kind of want to be, you know, so a sovereign supposed to have land, right? So being that you claiming your own sovereignty, you kind of want to tie yourself back to a nation. So a person would claim instead of just being like free or floating out there in between a citizen and a sovereign, because so you want to tie yourself to something. Black folks can tie themselves back to, you know, pretty much all folks can tie themselves back to the state that they are from. You have what's called, there's two states in every state. You have the state of, and the state. So just like the college, Oregon State, and then you have U of O. Okay, Oregon State would be the private side of the state. U of O, or the university of something of that state, would be the corporate side of that state. So as once you, as a sovereign, you want to claim the private side of the state, which is Oregon State or Michigan State, not the state of Michigan. The state of is kind of like the business of Michigan, the business of Oregon. The state of is like your mindset. So it's the business, it's the thinking of Oregon. But the thinking of Oregon is what is sold. That's the corporate side of it. That's the business side of it. We want to be tied to the land side of it, which is Oregon State. The beaver is a land animal. The duck is kind of like an air animal. It's the corporate side of it.
Okay. Now, when you saying the two lands, I know most people get confused because when you said there's a state within inside a state, and I see the analogy you use as far as in or the like you have the University of Oregon, then you got Oregon State. Where can someone find this information out where they can kind of research it themselves so they know a little bit more what they're doing and how to properly try to claim sovereignty?
Okay, it's there is a book called Creditors and Their Bonds that is like a great starter for folks that want to looking to get into this. It's I got some, man, I'm actually not at home right now.
No problem.
I could pull out the books. I could have pulled out my books that I actually have. But
no.
there's a couple of books that I got that a person should read. But by far, Creditors and Their Bonds is like the first thing that a person should read. Creditors and Their Bonds. Okay. And that you can get that on the internet. You can get that in e-form, but Creditors and Their Bonds is real good book.
Okay. So is a sovereign person would be the same status as a ADOS or an ABO? Like ABO. Would that be like kind of the same thing?
I'm gonna say no. Because all right, so the ADOS, right? Is this what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of claiming, not to be from here or to be descendants of people that's not from here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm claiming this my land.
So you're Aboriginal.
Yes, I'm claiming this. So the Indians of America were black folks. I mean, so-called black folks. We know that that's not the correct term for us. I'm speaking to the audience right now.
Okay.
We are the Indians. This here is our land. So I'm claiming this here. So, but yeah, I'm gonna say they not the same.
Okay. Is there any type of verification that you would need in a court of law or in their court or system to say that you are a Aborigine, or does it even matter if you're Aborigine or if you're just a a descendant from ADOS, or maybe just a or are you tied to some other, bloodline that was here?
Right.
To
But
claim,
my
claim sovereignty.
the claim, no. My research says that as a you don't need, as a sovereign, you can claim any nationality that you want. Especially when when you can claim the whole earth. If you say we come from, as melanated people, we can claim the whole earth. So there's nowhere that we can't claim sovereignty to. So yeah, there's no place that we can't claim sovereignty to. We everywhere. So a person that doesn't, it's not, so I'm trying to think how I want to say it. So a person doesn't, they don't have to necessarily take no type of um test or nothing. So as far as a person thinking they can get deported, you have the right to claim anything you want. If you claim yourself to, if you say you're not a United States citizen, all you gotta do is say you're an American national. Is America not a part of the United States? I mean, it's not a part, but America trumps the United States. This is America before it was the United States. So you saying I don't want to be a part of what came after. I want to be a part of what came before, which is America, or an American national, or a state citizen, meaning that, when I said state citizen, meaning the Oregon State. Oregon State was here before U of O, not necessarily those colleges. I'm just saying the state as a private, being separate from every other state, was here before every state tried to get together and, what I'm saying, for the benefit of the whole, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So you're saying you're not looking to do, some type of migration or exporting back to any of the land. This is your land.
Yeah, I ain't going nowhere.
And as so as far as in, like, the video with Trump, where he was saying that if you don't like America, you can go back to where you're from, but you got to give up your citizenship. You saying that's not even an option, because you don't have to be a citizen of the United States because you were here before the United States.
Oh yeah, I'm not a citizen of the United States. Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
right. And that's not
there's
even
nowhere for you to go.
Ain't
This is
nowhere for
your
me
shit.
to go. This is my shit. Anybody got to go, they got to go, family. Is that, if anybody got to go, it's them, bro. This is our shit, but we not claiming it. So they are, though. You ever notice how they'll be quick to say, "Yo, you know how quick you say how quick he is to say go somewhere, get out of America." Yo, you not even supposed to be here. What is you talking about? But we not claiming it. We what we are claiming is secondhand citizenship. So that's kind of like what DOS is. They claiming to be a citizen. They claiming to be citizen of the United States. I am not. I don't want to be a citizen of the United States. I'm an American national. I'm part of the states.
So what's the difference? American, when you say American, you say American national. The first thing most people would probably think is government. So how do you distinguish between one and the other, and then separate yourself from the other and still be sovereign?
Well, the Constitution. The Constitution is for the state. The Constitution is what would distinguish. Okay, so yeah, the Constitution is for the state, like Oregon State. So it's Oregon State Constitution, right? So then what will be other rules would be like statutes and codes. That is University of Oregon. So the difference is, so if you want to listen to it's who you're going to go by. So the Constitution says that you have the right to open carry. It's an open carry state. But as an American national, I open carry right now, pistol, boom. But if you're going to go get a license or a CCW, you saying you doing the ways of a citizen. So that's the line. The line is what you're going to do. You're going to either do things as a national. So doing things as a citizen is getting a driver's license. Doing things as a national, driving without. I mean, you're not driving. You're traveling without a license. You know, that's the line. The line is, you have a choice. You have a choice. You got free will. You can do it. You can go the stoves and the codes and statutes way, or the way of the government, or you can go the way of the sovereign. And you don't, which you don't need things, but you're not. It's not that you are free of responsibility. You know, I don't want people to think that
How would
that go ahead.
I got a question, please? Yes, I have a question. How would you approach using state-funded services, say like the police department or
To
something
do what exactly?
like that? Because it's the American citizens. I would think will be the ones that fund like the police, fire department, ambulances, or something like that. And how would someone that separated itself from this nation or from this government and still use those services? Say like someone burglarized their house.
Okay.
Would you call the police?
Absolutely. They probably gonna get there faster than anybody. I ain't gonna call my cousin. Police still probably gonna get there faster. So that's the whole point of me saying, we when you not owning the name, the all cat name, but not owning it, but controlling it. So what you doing is, so I'm saying I will be calling the police for my all cap name, because I ain't calling them for me. I'm a sovereign. But as a sovereign, I'm calling them for my all cap name. No, that's not a.
So you're saying you can alternate back and forth?
Absolutely, brother. That's what I'm. Yes, absolutely. You have the freedom to contract. You have the freedom to contract. It's like wearing hats. You can put on. You can step in and step out. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. A truck driver. A truck driver is not a truck driver 24 hours a day. When he parks that truck and gets out, he's a family man. He shouldn't be charged as a truck driver at that point. He's a family man. So when he gets back in that truck, he's a truck driver. So, and what I'm telling you is you could do the same thing as far as the state goes. It's controlling, because it's that truck. That truck is not you. You just getting in that truck to do work. It's kind of like it's the all cap name. The all cap name is not me. I'm just getting in that all cap name to do business. So in that all cap name, I can do a DBA and get another name and do business in that name. It's a vehicle. These are vehicles, but this is not me. No more than that McDonald's is, McDonald's ain't, the owner of McDonald's is not, they're not the same. He uses, McDonald's is a vehicle to get to places. So that name is just the same. I am not that name. That's just a vehicle.
I see. Great answer. That was a great answer. Hey, Rue, you got any more for him?
Just with using this, because you said using it the in all caps, and most people refer to that as the straw man.
Yes.
By going back and forth, and you're saying you're using it, it's almost like, well, you're claiming sovereignty, but you're not giving up sovereignty, or you're giving up sovereignty, but you're acting, you're doing business according to the UCC codes.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're saying I'm not part of you. how could that get a person in trouble? Because they would say, well, at one point you're saying you're sovereign, but you're actually doing business in your juvenile service, which means that you can't be sovereign. So if you're using a straw man, would that forfeit your sovereignty? Say in court.
Well, you say using the straw man. That's the whole point. The point is to use the straw man. It's like a vehicle. You're supposed to use it. You want to use it. You want to use it. That's unless you are in a situation to grow your own food, do for yourself. If you're not in a position to do that, then you
Okay.
need to learn how to control what you do have. Because on that birth certificate, you have, they put like, last I heard, it was like $1.5 million goes on your car every year. It's a part of that name. It put on there ever since birth. It goes on there. It starts at birth. And then every year after birth, boom, you get more and more units of credit on there. So it's like, yo, we got all those units of credit that we could be using to set off our debt. Now, you're not going to be able to take this money out the ATM and go cash out. What you're going to do is use these units of credit to offset the debt that we do have. But if we can offset the debt that we have, we'll have more money to spend.
I've heard. I have to go back a little, like maybe about 6 months ago or something, that there was an arrest of quite a few people, and they're on trial for doing something like what you were saying. Like one guy was buying, like, he brought like an RV and like some other thing using those numbers, and I guess he got the stuff, but like things went down and the FBI arrested them. They're on trial for it. I ran across something that was speaking on them like recently, but like I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah. I'm not for sure. I heard of that one in particular, and without really knowing exactly what happened. But I will say this: it's not, this is not nothing clear cut, brother. That's why I say, it's a learning process. So you kind of like, I'm just kind of like troubleshooting here. There's nothing that is concrete. There's no cookie cut pattern for this. So people mess up, and I tell you that, and I can almost for sure you where they messed up at was they probably said some wrong shit in court. That's why I try my best not to go to court at all. They went into court and said some wrong shit. I almost guarantee it. So I try and stay out of court as much as possible. So I try to do things to put myself in a position so if I do go into court, I can go as a third person. I can go as the lawyer. The lawyer never get in trouble for his defendant or his client. So I'm going in there as the attorney. In fact, I want to go in there as the lawyer, as a sovereign outside, and I will represent my all cap name, when I go to court. Because that's who they after. They ain't after me.
Yeah, as most of us, most African Americans, most Black people in this country right now are not in a position to grow our own foods or to provide our own means. So
Exactly.
we always we operate within that straw man, right? And within those codes. But we see a stronger push right now with conscious, with as everybody's getting more conscious, to actually try to break away to some degree from the governmental structure by claiming back more of our independence.
Mm-hmm.
How would someone go about, just to start out without getting in trouble? What would be the first thing they would do as far as gaining a sovereignty? Would it be like more research, more on the straw man, understanding what that is, learning about the UCC codes? What would be your suggest, or how did you start out when you first started? And then maybe instead of saying this is what you should do, explain what did you do?
I started out by simply started reading. I started out by reading the Oregon Constitution, and the United States Constitution, and that there would give you You want to start there because that there tells you exactly what they were supposed to be doing, or it's telling you exactly what they're supposed to do. And you could contrast that to what they're doing now. You could be like, yo, man, you was never meant to be doing that. And the Constitution is the law of the land, even to this day. They might be talking about getting rid of certain things in there, but as far as the United States as a corporation goes, the Constitution is the law of the land. So if you start there, if you want to talk about managing your all cap name, you want to start. I started with the Oregon State Constitution and the United States Constitution. I learned, and then after that, I started going to the UCC. Then I started going into the UCC.
While you saying that, one thing I found very funny, I ain't gonna say funny, but familiar, is that when you go into court, right, and you see other videos where you see a lot of guys who may be in prison, or you will see a lot of Moors, particular, who is they're very educated on the law and Constitution, and the lawyer or the police will tell you when you come in, they'd be like, well, you can't study or you can't practice law without a degree or being certified, right? But at the same time, they tell you that there is no exception for ignorance of the law.
Right.
So in one part, they're telling you that you should know these laws, rules, regulations, but then they tell you, but you can't practice yourself as a licensed person, and you need representation from other affiliated parties, which is actually tied into those same entities. So when you say study the Oregon Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, it kind of brings everything together, because it does tell you kind of what you do. Because a lot of people will say, well, are you an oath keeper? And I've been hearing, just hearing people, are you an oath keeper?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it seems like, can you go from an oath keeper to say a state official or servant? Can you go into that a little bit, if you know more?
Okay, well, a public servant takes oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. So this oath is, these oaths are binding. They, back in the day, they was binding by death. You know what I'm saying? So these oaths, they take oaths to uphold the Constitution. Okay, they take an oath to uphold the Constitution. Meanwhile, they are honoring statutes and codes, which kind of contradicts the Constitution. One, being a driver's license. It's like, yo, you have the right to travel. The Constitution clearly states that. But meanwhile, you can get in trouble for not having a license. That's kind of going against the Constitution. So when you call their oath, you're saying, yo, when I come into that courtroom, you just took an oath to uphold the Constitution. So I don't want to hear no statutes and code shit when I come in there. We're going to stick with the Constitution. So that's why you want to pull that. That's why you want to get that oath. You want to make them like, yo, you took an oath. Did you not take an oath to the Constitution? Make us say it on record. Yes, I took an oath. Well, all right. Well, I'm in here for this matter right here. No codes and statutes. This shit has nothing to do with this.
So you can still be sovereign and still hold someone to a constitution, the U.S. Constitution, even though you're sovereign.
So you hold them to their job. You know what I'm saying? And their job is to protect your straw man. That's your company. That's a corporation. Okay. You're like, yo, man, this is a corporation. I own this corporation, man, and these are laws of this your your codes, which is the UCC, United Uniform Commercial Codes. Your codes say this is supposed to happen.
Okay. So So let me see this right. If this, so you can kind of clear this up a little bit more. So a person that's sovereign is sovereign, right? So you have certain inalienable rights that's outside of governmental jurisdiction, but which the person itself is not subject to the UCC codes. But as a sovereign, you use your straw man as a contract or a tool for contract to actually do business with the government, which only has jurisdiction on the straw man, but still leaves you sovereign. Is that what you? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, it leaves you. Yeah, it leaves you sovereign. They own the name.
Damn.
They own that name. All that name, the name you using in all capital letters. They own that. They created that when you was born. When your mom signed that birth certificate, and your mom signed the birth certificate, she put your name in upper and lowercase letters. Okay. When she gave them that original birth certificate, I mean that original application for a birth certificate. When that birth certificate came back, your name was in all capital letters. They just, your mom essentially gave them a bill of sale, and then they send your mom's back a certificate of title for you. That's that.
Wow.
In essence, that's what happened.
Okay. So they don't. So the straw man. The straw man is a fictional person or a entity. I ain't gonna even say a person. It's a fictional entity in the form of a being,
Yes.
but it's not real because it's bounded by statutes and what was the other word you say? Statutes and codes, right?
Yes.
They own that.
Yes.
So how do you get control of something that they own?
What you don't have you have because you have beneficial interest. Like say your name. If somebody sign your name, they go to jail for fraud.
Right.
They can't use that because you have beneficial ownership in that. That's yours. Or that's for the benefit of you. So they gave it to you. They already gave you some type of ownership of it. You just saying that it's not me. They already gave you ownership of it. You already had or you the only person that can sign for it. Your checks, you the only person that can do these things.
Okay. So in a way, and I'm just, this is conjecture. I'm just talking shit right now. But in a way, you are God to your straw man because through your signature, which is coming from an actual living person, is where they start creating this mystical shit of paper and money and all this other stuff. So their interest is not actually you, the human being. They have invested interest in the straw man, which is a stock and bonded certificate of paper that's on the stock market or somewhere else.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Is
that what he's saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody owe me some damn money.
Yeah. You got the credit, family. Go after the credit. The money about to be gone anyway. We gotta learn how to get to that credit that we got and discharge the debt. If we offset and discharge the debt that we have, then we'll have money. We'll have the money that we need. Most people, they got that's working, that's making income. They had a job, they had the funds that they need. It's the debt that's got us. But the good part about it is once you get into debt, you can offset or discharge the debt. You can offset or discharge it.
Okay. So that's cool. So I mean, there's a lot that's going into it, which is good stuff. So I mean, sovereignty and how to claim sovereignty and your rights, inalienable rights versus your privileges is one of the things that most people need to understand. Yeah, my last question is this. It is possible to claim sovereignty, but that's just my question. Because most people think it's a farce. So it is possible to claim sovereignty.
Well, a person can claim sovereignty right now. But it's a lifestyle. It's not a word. It's a lifestyle. So if you could claim sovereignty, you can claim to be sovereign right now. But if you're going to turn around and your next move is going to be that of a citizen, then you just, you kind of defeating the purpose. That's what I'm saying. This is a long time deal. It's not, it's not necessarily a 3-month course. You have to be willing to do this every time. You know, you have to be willing to, you know, consciously, you know, make choices at every turn. You know,
I hear
because
you.
the system is set up to always bring you back in. I mean, it's always designed to bring you back in.
Like a bad relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, so there you have it. There you have it, guys, brothers and sisters, on the High Council with brother uh, Rakhu Sonkofa Anu, brother Daniel Haru, and Killer B here at the High Council. Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on, brother, and sharing that with us. And you know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying,
absolutely.
get you on again and share some other things. Is you know,
Yes.
and we also go to the halls of my art, and you know what I'm saying, and want to hear, you know, we always do fact checking and stuff like that. And
Oh
if
yeah.
a brother heart seems to be more heavier than that scale, then they get burned the hell up, which find a general style do what. But hey, Killer, I want to share something before we go, right?
Okay.
A while ago, it was a long time ago when I had met this brother, right? We were actually on I think like kind of a double date or something like that, right? We were in Seattle.
Yes.
This brother had his name is Rakhu Sonkofa Anu. This brother was a Hebrew. He was a Hebrew.
Wow.
This brother, hey, and you know what? It just struck me when I started reading his name. I started looking at his name.
Yeah.
This, hey,
Wow.
and this brother will tell you. And no, you're Hebrew, and I was a Christian.
Yeah.
We was
I remember that ride up to Seattle.
Remember?
Yeah. I remember.
Hey, we've argued from where we
Yeah.
are 2.5,
Yeah.
3 hours down and back about Christianity and Judaism.
And look where we at now, brother.
And we both African spirituality.
It's a beautiful thing, ain't it? I remember.
Hey, we was debating. We had the two girls that we had with us was like, would y'all shut the hell up
I know, that's right.
the whole night? So, hey, there you have it. I told you, free your mind.
Yep. The rest follow.
Go ahead, close out, Killer B.
That's it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's Killer. Thank you, brother Heru from tonight's show. Thank you to thank you to our guests and stuff. And we're brother Rakhu, and yeah, there's another one down. Heru, there's another one down. I can't wait to get them in the halls of my eye. So we got some contestants coming up for that new channel. Make sure you guys subscribe. I should be having a link for that pretty soon. And yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by. And make sure you guys hit that like button. Leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Share and subscribe. That's about it.
Tepu, I get with you, brother. Rakhu, we'll do it again. Talk to you a little bit more about your journey away from the Hebrew to where you at.
That's right. All right. Good to hear from you, brother.
All right, y'all. Peace out, fam. We hit y'all again. Catch us in the morning. Watch Killer B. He might be on burning somebody.
Always a fire. It's always a fire to start. It's always a fire to start.
Yes, sir.
That's all right. All right. Yeah, everybody have a good night. Thanks for tuning in to the High Council. See you next time. Peace.